Hello and welcome. My name is Meepolis, they, she, he, and this is Literally Graphic. And today we are taking on a thicker and denser book than my usual fare. I think it took me almost 2 weeks of commutes to actually get through it all. What book is this? Footnotes in Gaza by Sacco. This nonfiction volume was published in 2009 by Metropolitan Books. Content notes for mass death, violence, people being debilitated, suicide bombers, loss of home and family. This graphic novel is hard-hitting and doesn't pull its punches. This was a difficult read and includes watching a lot of people being subjected to incredible violence, both active and passive. Moving along to author information, as I said, this is a Sacco title. My first Sacco title. I've been meaning to pick up this comic journalist for quite some time now. Apparently he was born in Malta and grew up in Australia before moving to the USA. He started in journalism while in high school, and some of the other titles he has made or contributed to are American Splendor music comics, Global Warming and the Sweetness of Life, A Tar Sands Tale, The Big Book of Martyrs, From the Folks Who Brought You the Weekend, a short illustrated history of labor in the United States, and many more. I need to do this more often. Keywords seem like a flippant concept here, so let's jump straight to the Goodreads description. Quote, from the great cartoonist-reporter, a sweeping original investigation of a forgotten crime in the most vexed of places. Rafah, a town at the bottommost tip of the Gaza Strip. On the border with Egypt, swaths of Rafah have been bulldozed to rubble. Rafah is today and has always been a notorious flashpoint in this bitterest of conflicts. Buried deep in the archives is one bloody incident in 1956 that left 111 Palestinians dead, shot by Israeli soldiers. Seemingly a footnote to a long history of killing, that day in Rafah, cold-blooded massacre or dreadful mistake, reveals the competing truths that have come to define an incredible war. In a quest to get to the heart of what happened, Sacco immersed himself in daily life of Rafah and the neighboring town of Khan Younis, uncovering Gaza's past and present, spanning 50 years, moving fluidly between one war and the next. Alive with the voices of fugitives and schoolchildren, widows and sheikhs, Footnotes in Gaza captures the essence of tragedy. As in Palestine and safe area Gorazd, Sacco's unique visual journalism has rendered a contested landscape in brilliant, meticulous detail. Footnotes in Gaza, his most ambitious work to date, transforms a critical conflict of our age into an intimate and immediate experience. End quote. Weaving together past and present, interviews and lived experience, as someone who is always interested in learning more about who is writing the story alongside the story they are trying to tell, particularly when it comes to nonfiction, Sacco really stepped up and spent what seems like a responsible, but not overbearing, amount of pages interrogating himself and his own motivations for trying to write about this point in recent history that he feels has been largely glossed over as a footnote, hence the title for the book. A book tightly focused on a particular spot at a particular moment of extremely violent history. I will be foregoing my general breakdown around representation just this once. That said, I will highlight that Sacco does talk to a wide array of different kinds of people, each with their own perspective on 1956 Rafah. This over 400-page tome of a book is heavily detailed and a bit of a daunting object to pick up, but Sacco does move things along at a pretty good pace, going from one person to the next in a way that kept my attention while still going into an impressive level of detail and nuance. My memory works in webs, and this book felt like it was moving in a similar way. The art reflects the narrative, incredibly detailed and skillful. Similar to the way where Sacco questions his own motivation and his own perspective as a reporter, the way he portrays himself is also incredibly interesting, giving himself what seems to be a purposefully blank face. I'm sure he's talked about this in better detail than I can here right now. But I liked how he continued to remind us that he was there and didn't make himself look particularly compelling visually. Again, that accountability to himself for being an outside observer without centering himself. The very unique art style also seemed to help show brutality without it feeling exploitative. The very unique art style also seemed to help show brutality without it feeling exploitative, at least to my brain, because that's the main concern that I have consuming emotionally distressing content about how humans can be horrible to each other. At least that's why I avoid most true crime media. That said, it's also important for someone like me, whose tax money goes to fund many other instances of war crimes, but as of yet has been spared experiencing anything even close, to know and understand what has been and reflect on what that means today. 5 out of 5 stars. I'll certainly be thinking about this book for a while. Bye y'all, keep reading and organize to end capitalist oppression. And as always, Literally Graphic is created on land that should be given back to the traditional landholders, which in this case is, to my knowledge, the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation, Anishinaabe people, the Haudenosaunee Confederacy, and the Huron-Wendat Nation.